The first thing I noticed wasn't the silence. It was the time. 9:42 p.m., and my phone was still blank. For most people, that wouldn't mean anything. Messages get delayed. Batteries die. Traffic runs late. But after 12 years of marriage, you start to recognize the small rhythms of a person's life. And my wife, Lena, had one habit she never broke. She always texted when she arrived. Not sometimes. Not when she remembered. Always. A simple message. Usually just 2 words. Made it. It started years ago when she used to drive home late from the hospital. Long shifts. Empty roads. She said it made her feel better knowing someone was waiting for that text. Somewhere along the way, it stopped being about safety and just became normal. A quiet little check-in stitched into our days. Which is why, at 9:42 p.m., I told myself not to overthink it. But I still picked up my phone and looked again. Nothing. I set it back down on the kitchen counter and tried to focus on the TV playing quietly in the living room. Some crime show Lena liked to fall asleep to, the kind where everything gets wrapped up neatly in 45 minutes. The episode ended. My phone stayed silent. By 9:58, something small and uncomfortable had started to settle in my chest. Not panic. Not yet. Just that faint, instinctive tug you can't quite explain. She should have texted by now. I opened our message thread. My last message from her sat there from earlier that evening. Leaving now. See you soon, Red Heart. Sent at 8:47 p.m. The drive from the hospital to our house was 22 minutes. 25 with traffic. I knew because Lena had complained about it for years. I did the math without meaning to. Even with traffic, she should have been home, or at least texting by 9:15. I told myself she probably stopped for gas, or ran into a coworker in the parking lot, or got caught finishing paperwork. Normal things. Reasonable things. But my thumb was already hovering over the call button. When I dialed, it rang longer than usual, then went to voicemail. I hung up immediately, my stomach tightening just a little more. Lena usually picked up on the second ring. If she missed a call, she always texted right after. Always. I stood there in the kitchen, staring at the small digital clock on the microwave as it flipped to 10:03 p.m. That's when I noticed the front porch light was still off. Lena had another habit. The moment she pulled into the driveway, she flipped that switch inside the entryway. Said she hated walking into a dark house. The porch outside was still black. A slow, quiet unease started to spread through me. I walked to the front window and pulled the curtain back just enough to see the driveway. Her parking spot was empty. That should have reassured me. Instead, it made the silence feel wider. I checked my phone again. Still nothing. At 10:11, I texted her. You okay? The message delivered instantly, but the little red indicator never appeared. I stood there longer than I want to admit, watching those 2 gray check marks like they might change if I stared hard enough. They didn't. By 10:18, the unease had turned into something sharper. I called again. Straight to voicemail this time. That's when my mind finally stopped offering normal explanations. Lena didn't ignore calls. She didn't forget to text. And she definitely didn't let her phone die. She carried a charger in her bag, her car, and her locker at work. She used to joke she was prepared for a power outage in 3 different zip codes. My eyes drifted toward the small wooden bowl by the door. Her spare car key was still sitting exactly where she'd left it that morning, which meant wherever she was, she had taken the main set. At 10:26, I called the hospital. The night receptionist picked up on the second ring. Hi, this is Mark, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. I'm just checking. Did Lena Harris leave after her shift tonight? There was a pause. Keyboard clicking. Yes, the woman said. She clocked out at 8:41 p.m. My grip tightened on the phone. Did anyone see her leave the parking lot? Another pause. I'm not sure about that, sir. Of course. I thanked her and hung up, but something cold had already started forming in my stomach. Because now there was a gap. She left work. But she never made it home. I walked back into the living room and muted the TV. The sudden quiet in the house felt heavier than it should have. That's when I noticed something else. Her location. We shared locations with each other, another one of those small habits that just stuck over the years. I opened the map. For a second, my brain didn't process what I was seeing. The dot wasn't moving. It was sitting still. Not on the highway, not near the hospital, but parked along a thin stretch of road about 12 minutes from home. My pulse started to climb. I zoomed in. It was an industrial side road. Mostly warehouses. Closed businesses. The kind of place Lena had no reason to be at that hour. I stared at the screen, willing the dot to start moving. It didn't. At 10:31 p.m., I grabbed my keys. The drive there felt both too fast and impossibly slow. Every red light stretched. Every quiet street felt wrong. I kept glancing at the map. The dot never moved. When I turned onto the side road, my headlights swept across a long row of dark buildings and empty loading docks. And then I saw her car. It was pulled halfway onto the shoulder. Driver's side door closed. Headlights off. Engine dark. For one strange second, relief flooded me. Maybe she got a flat. Maybe she stopped to take a call. Maybe I parked behind her and got out. The night air felt colder than it should have. Her car was locked. I could see her purse sitting on the passenger seat. Her phone wasn't there. My stomach dropped. I walked slowly around the car, my eyes scanning the ground, the shadows. The empty stretch of road that suddenly felt far too quiet. That's when my gaze caught on something near the rear tire. One of Lena's shoes. Just one. Lying on its side in the dust. I froze. Because Lena didn't walk anywhere in one shoe. And that's when the silence of the night stopped feeling empty. And started feeling like it was hiding something. Police would later tell me the timeline didn't fully make sense. Her phone's last signal pinged at 9:07 p.m. Right here on this road. But according to the hospital, she didn't leave the building until 8:41. Which should have put her home, or close to it, long before that ping ever happened. One small gap. 26 minutes no one could account for. Investigators searched the area for hours. They found no signs of a struggle. No witnesses. No clear direction of travel. Just her locked car. Her purse inside. And one shoe on the ground. To this day, there's one detail I still can't shake. At 9:12 p.m., 5 minutes after her phone stopped moving, my phone lit up. Not with a message, but with the typing indicator. Those 3 small dots. Like she was about to text. Like she started to. And then, nothing. If someone you love has a routine they never break, a call, a message, a quick check-in, pay attention when it changes. Because sometimes the first warning isn't loud. Sometimes. It's just the text that never comes. If this story gave you even a moment of pause, don't ignore it. Pay attention to the small routines the people in your life follow, the quick texts, the safe arrival messages, the little habits that feel automatic. Because when those patterns suddenly break, it can be the earliest warning that something isn't right. If you found this story valuable for awareness, consider subscribing and sharing it with someone who needs the reminder. And I want to hear your thoughts. That typing indicator at 9:12 p.m. What do you think really happened in those missing minutes? Stay alert.